But pointing at things with your turkey leg is just a very powerful way to emphasize a point. Like you could say like, wow, that looks really impressive. Or you could point at that with a leg of dead animal and say that is something impressive. And that defeated by delicious fruit pie. Okay. There we go. Hello, everybody. Let's go to the live control room and see how we're doing. Just want to make sure that we have everybody on here before we get started. Although I'm not going to wait forever this week because we are actually on a time budget because I'm going to be watching other stuff on YouTube. I know, like, it's totally a crime, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, we go to the live control room. I just heard the message that I am going live right now on mine own phone. Yes. Okay. Here we go. I'm wondering why the heck isn't it showing this for me? Cool. So how is everybody this week? Are you getting all the fallness that you need? I gotta find a place where chat is live. Here we go. Oh, okay. Here we hi. Can you hear me? Friendly man one. Just doing a mic check. Like Kit Boga rooting for the billing department. Click on run. Okay, good. So you guys can hear me. That's awesome. I'm going to get started because I know that we need to kind of get moving on this. So, hello everybody, officially, and welcome to another amazing episode of DBDFP. I am NEDTJ, Ned the Janitor, or just, Eric for people who know me, but for the most part, you guys just know it's Ned the Janitor. So this week, we have some awesome things to talk about. I want to discuss with you guys 3 things. One, I want to talk about, like, Renfests or any kind of festival or event or carnival and things like that, and why they're awesome and why you should go do them, especially now in the fall before it turns into winter and then just all the White Walkers come and kill everybody. But and you can't go outside. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about Hubba Hubba Hubba, Who Do You Trust? If again, reference from the Batman movie, like the 1980s Batman movie with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. If you don't know that movie or you haven't watched it, you're not old enough to be on the show. Which actually reminds me, I do need to do this disclaimer, and this is terrible, but this is where we're at with YouTube these days. So the disclaimer on this channel is that this is not a family-friendly channel. So this is not what you would consider for children. The typical age range that I would assume would appreciate and understand and enjoy this would be between maybe 28, but probably in your 30s to your 40s, late 50s and on. So the references that I will be making in this show are usually from a time period that you would have to be a little bit older to recognize, or you've done your homework and research, in which case, good for you. But there is explicit language that's used. There are references and all the other things that the ESRB would give an adult rating for, or rated M for mature. So if you could just consider this not E for everyone, that would be great. Let me explain that a little bit this time around. I will just give the disclaimer moving forward, and I'm going to find some funny way to do some stupid intro for it in the future. But YouTube is actually going to start penalizing channels who are family-oriented, so children-oriented. So how will they penalize them? Number one, they're going to disable comments. So if there are videos for children or by children, family channels, things like that, there will not be any comments. It's going to be disabled. So they haven't really rolled out how they're going to do that, but I'm getting in front of this right now because comments are really one of the ways that I find out how you guys feel about episodes and what you want, or what I always appreciate, which is trolls. Like, I mean, how am I going to get my trolling comments if I can't get comments if they're not disabled? So that's the one big change. The other thing is, if it turns out that it is a family-friendly channel or a channel that children can watch, and I haven't designated as such, they've even said that they might levy penalties and fines. So it's a whole bunch of bullshit. Like, it's like a ton of it. And this is just part and parcel of how YouTube is literally trying to commit seppuku. And not even with the Frisbee. Again, a reference from the late 90s, realultimatepower.com. I don't even know if it's still a website, but they used to be like this website all about ninjas and how like ninjas like just are invisible, and if you see them, you're already about to die. And then it has instructions on how to commit seppuku, which is to take a Frisbee and you fold it up and then you swallow it and then let it go and then it expands in your throat and you die. So like there's just like, it's a really stupid website, but it was funny. But that's what YouTube is trying to do. I am looking at other platforms. I've downloaded DLive. I downloaded a BitChute. I may start just moving right to that platform or those platforms. Dave Rubin came up with an interesting platform that he is looking at doing, where there will actually be an app that I could create, and then you guys would just be able to download my app. And then you would be able to see all my stuff and follow my guidelines and things, and it would just be my channel. Like, the app would be my channel, and that could be really cool. So I'll look into that and I'll let you guys know. That will probably take some more marketing on my part in terms of using YouTube and migrating you guys. Like, I'm up to now, last time I checked, like 2,100 subscribers. So thank you, everybody who's a part of this, and we may move. So that's just something that we're gonna have to think about and tackle and wrestle with as we go forward, because YouTube is not the YouTube that I started playing with like way back, like in yesteryear. Speaking of being old, I remember when YouTube was brand new and it was like anything. Like, there could be a YouTube video of anything. And that's obviously not the case now. 17,000 channels were shut down overnight. I mean, thousands of channels are being flagged and demonetized every month. It's not the adpocalypse, it's the actual Ragnarok of YouTube, in my opinion. So we'll use this for now, and we'll keep going about this and kind of keep going. What about iHeartRadio? No, I'm not going to just do iHeartRadio. Here's why. I have a podcast. If you guys don't know that I have a podcast, I don't know where you've been. You're terrible fans. It's DBDFP on iTunes. We're on Libsyn, actually, Libsyn, and we do weekly audio versions of this. And except for after episode 160, I actually have to put those in there. But we do have weekly episodes that are just audio, and that's the format where we live, and again, where we can be. And I've never had any problems ever being on that. And after 164 previous episodes, that has literally never given me any problems. YouTube is already starting to crack down on how this channel is going to operate. And I mean, we just started doing this like a few months ago. So again, thank you for everybody who subscribed. There will be more information forthcoming as I figure out what we're going to do with this and how it's going to turn out to be just more fun. Like, I want to be able to have more fun and not worry about what this looks like and how it sounds. But in the meantime, not a family-friendly channel. Yeah, just don't bring your kids. Like, in fact, hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husbands, because they be everybody in here. I'm not going to say that because it's not even like rated M. That might actually just get my video banned. So I don't want to say that. I don't want to miss any. Yeah, you won't miss anything on that. I'll announce things, and you can always go to the Facebook page, which is Defeated by Delicious Fruit Pies. I post every week where we'll be and what time we'll be going live. And also on Twitter, if you like to be on the tweeter, I put that on as well, at DBDFP. So don't worry, I'm always going to let you guys know where I'm going to be and when I'm going to be. So that feature, it won't go away. I'm not going to stop communicating. I will not get rid of this YouTube channel. They will have to pry it from my cold, dead fingers. It's not that intense, but you know what I mean. I'm not just going to get rid of it. Anyway, let's talk about the mug of the week. The mug of the week this week, this is an oldie but a goodie. This is my Skyrim mug, and it is a coffee mug. And if you can notice, it has a damage of 1, it has a value of 15. It is a stolen item. Or no, value is 18, but the weight is only 0.5. But if you carried like a bunch of these, you'd be encumbered. That's like an old EverQuest thing. But this is especially effective against sleepiness. I don't know how many times you could drink out of this before you would have to update it or like put energy back into it from a soul gem, but it's been full since I started using it. This coffee is a mix of a medium and a dark roast with hazelnut put in there, and then I put personally put pumpkin spice in. It's black. It's not. It has no milk, has no sugar, but that pure pumpkin spice seasoning in it. It's phenomenal. It's just the most fall-like thing on earth, and I love it. And it keeps me awake. It doesn't really do anything like that. Actually, it turns out coffee doesn't affect your sleep. And there's some really good research on that, but it is a great antioxidant. So cheers. I know that many channels end up having some kind of simultaneous sip. I know that that's one way of looking at it. Kip Boga has the time where they all drink tea together, and he's like, it's not a cult, it's a cult. It's not a cult, but you know, it's funny. I just always have had the mug of the week, but I've gotten some emails from you guys recently saying, like, because I missed a mug of the week one time, and a couple of you guys were kind of pissed that I didn't do it. So I'm going to make sure I always do the mug of the week, and we can all have our sip of whatever your desired beverage is at the same time. So without further ado, let's get into the topics of the week. The first one that I will talk about is festivals, carnivals, and Renfests, or Renaissance fairs. So these are things where you can either they're announced because they're once a year, or they're, you know, like something like in Binghamton, New York, in Bingo, there is a Broome County fair. When I was growing up, there was the Hartford Fair, and there's another fair too, the Wyoming County Fair. So there's county fairs that happen in like near the fall. These are usually related with rides and like cotton candy and like, you know, tents with clams and like all kinds of nonsense. And they're great. There are also Renaissance fairs or festivals that happen every day or every week, certain times of the week or every day. And then there are places like Smorgasburg, which is a food festival that happens in Brooklyn every week. And it's just phenomenal. It's just really, really good food. And just, you're going to get so fat, and it's going to be so worth it. So, but let me talk about why. You know, for all you gamers out there, and for all the people like me that, you know, we enjoy communicating online. I like talking to you guys online. I like doing all this stuff online. But there's like meeting people in real life and like observing people. And I want to go over some of that stuff in the top 4 reasons why I think that it would make sense for you, even if you're a basement dweller, maybe you're like a cave troll, maybe, I don't know what you are, you know, maybe if you're one of the misfits and you're part of this crew of people who likes to just kind of hang out and be online and kind of be in the background, I would like to encourage you and offer you some benefits of why you might want to go out to one of these things. So number 1 is meat. So what I'm talking about is like turkey legs that you can get at like a Renaissance fair, or you can also get wings at a lot of these festivals. You can get cheesesteaks or burgers and hot dogs. Like I walked by this grill. I went to one of these things today. There was a grill. It was like, seriously, like 10 feet long. And it just, the flames were like shooting up out of it. All the carcinogens that you could imagine, just ingesting all that just charcoal. But it was hot dogs and hamburgers, and it just looked and smelled amazing. That reminds me of that scene in Demolition Man when he goes down into the underground, where there's like all the, like, you know, the people there with Dennis Leary, and he's like, he smells barbecue, and then he says like ¿qué es su carne? You know, he's like, yeah, it's like, what's the meat? And she goes like, este carne es rata. So it's like, and he's like, you tell me it's a rat burger? And she's like, yeah. And he says, the best burger I've had in years, because he was cryogenically frozen. And he still ate the whole burger, the rat burger. The point is, these probably aren't going to be rat burgers, and they're going to be very delicious. But turkey legs, I have a picture. I'll have to find it. I have a picture of me pointing at the camera with a turkey leg, and I have a leather stein in my hand. Who knows what's in that stein? I don't even remember, so nobody. But pointing at things with your turkey leg is just a very powerful way to emphasize a point. Like, you could say like, wow, that looks really impressive. Or you could point at that with a leg of dead animal and say, that is something impressive. And that commands the attention, respect, all wonder and joy of those around you. I mean, people will collapse in just sheer amazement at the fact that you can command the legs of dead birds and point them at things that you would like to bring their attention to. There's nothing like a turkey leg. Unless they're undercooked, don't eat them. That's disgusting. You'll get sick. All right, number 2, people watching. Not just the NPCs. So if you're like at a Renfest or something like that, I'm not talking about like, you know, the actual witches that are just walking by, or like the people who are being paid to be there, but like maybe some other NPCs, like people who go there and they dress up and they want to be like Gandalf, or they want to be like an archer or a jester or somebody. Like, I've seen like amazing juggling from just like randos that just went there, and they had this full getup and they were doing really cool things. And it's really neat to meet people who are very invested in these things. Like, of course it's nerdy, right? Like, duh, that's the point? Question mark, question mark, question mark. You should be looking for those kind of people. They're really involved. They're really invested. It's great. It's like LARPing without having to actually LARP. My favorite LARPing video, if you haven't seen it yet, look up LARP, L-A-R-P, lightning bolt sleep. It's hilarious. Like these people, like they throw a beanbag because that's how they do like spells. They're like lightning bolt, and then the other guy goes sleep, and then somebody just goes death. And the guy just pretends to be dead. It's fantastic. It's really amazing. It kind of reminds me of the guy who's like, I have the power of Jesus and anime on my side. Yeah, it's kind of like that, but it's really fun. And you go to these things and you talk to people and they try to speak in Old English or whatever, because apparently like everybody in the Renaissance Festival is British. I'd like to see these people speak in German and French, but that's never going to happen. Unless they go to France and Germany, in which case that's all they'll do. Number 3, unique gear. So there are some things that you can only get handcrafted from a Renaissance Festival. May I present to you for your consideration this ring? This ring is made out of solid silver, and it has another piece that was welded together and put all together with it to make it spin, which is very fun. I got this at a Renaissance Festival. I got it in 2000 and I want to say 06, because I had another one that I got in like 2003. It was the identical ring from the same blacksmith, and I lost it playing softball. And that's a whole other story for another day. But I won, and it was an awesome game of softball, but it just came at the price of that amazing ring. It was an expensive ring, but it's awesome. I've had this for like over a decade now, and I love it. It's still my favorite ring. And it's just something that I would never be able to get anywhere else except for the individual jeweler, the blacksmith, who used silver, raw silver, and pieced this together for me. So that's really cool. There's also bow and arrows. I had leather armor set that you can get there. There's like all kinds of crazy stuff. Check out the Lefave brothers, Lafave. If you want to see like they love Oblivion and they do Skyrim videos and stuff like that. But they did this Skyrim in real life, or Oblivion in real life episode 2, and there's a behind the scenes video where they show how they got like the bow and arrow and some of the other equipment, and they spent a ton of money on this actual bow and arrow that like works, like a long bow, like a wooden bow, and it's awesome. What do we got here? Hold on, let me just jump into the comments. I want to go to a Ren Fest. Oh, we should go together. I haven't been to one since I was a children's librarian for summer reading. I like Ren Fest. Yeah, we should totally go. There's one in Harrisburg that I used to go to because it was close to where I went to college. You should watch American Princess on Netflix. No, I'm not going to do that. But not just because this is American Princess. I'm not going to be that guy. It's because like I literally have a backlog of things to watch that I could build a log cabin with. And I've said that before about video games. Same thing's true about videos, movies too. And then number 4, something to do. So you could move around. You could get sunlight. If you're not a vampire, if you are, I understand, I get it, and try to get to one of those at night, but usually that's not a thing. You're weird. Fresh air, and you can meet other nerds in real life. And meeting nerds in real life is great. So you can self-identify. Like when I went to Universal recently, there was a guy who had an awesome t-shirt, and I had to get a picture with him. I'm going to post it on the Facebook page eventually, but he's just this random guy, and I saw his shirt, like, yo, I need to get a picture with you because it was something related to The Office. And so I got a picture with him, and he just was totally cool with that. And one time when I was in Disney, shout out to one of the fans out there, I actually ended up getting a picture with one of the fans of the show because they noticed me and they recognized who I was, and they found me. And so we got a little selfie next to the stockades, which was really cool. So, don't be afraid to go out there and meet people that are also into kind of nerdy stuff. Like you'd be amazed how many people locally are into books, comic books, video games, television, movies, like Renaissance stuff, D&D. Like there are a lot of people out there that enjoy life and that have a good time. And like I said on the episode where I was talking about not getting too jaded, people who are nerds, we have the most fun. We really do. And it's so easy to communicate with other people like that. This is a great opportunity to do that. So I highly encourage you. Fall is a great time for festivals. There's fall fests, there's Halloween stuff. You can dress up in costume if that makes you more comfortable. You don't have to even show your face. Don't dress as Michael Myers. Somebody might hit you with a police car and then, you blow up, and then they have to take like 4 hours to find your dental records, and it turns out that you're not actually Michael Myers. But other than that, I recommend highly going to these events and getting into the spirit and dressing up. So, moving on to the next part. Hold on, let me just check the comments, see if that's all done. Okay, so nothing else on that. Let me talk to you guys about hubba, 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 who do you trust, who do you trust? Joker says to the crowd as he throws a bunch of money at everybody, and then he proceeds to gas them all, and they're dying, and then Batman has to steal his balloons, which leads to one of the best lines of a Batman movie ever, which is, "My balloons. He's stealing my balloons." I just think it's fantastic that a supervillain is that upset about somebody stealing his balloons. Jack Nicholson still is just an amazing Joker. Like, I know Heath Ledger's great, and I believe in Jared Leto, but no, Jack Nicholson was the man. All right, so who do you trust? Why do I bring this up? I have really struggled recently looking on review websites for especially movies, but also with video games. It's very, very difficult to find a trusted source for whether or not I would like a movie or a video game or whatever. I mean, even a new comic book series. How the heck do you even figure that out now? I'm going to go into some of the problems in each genre, and then I'll talk about some solutions. So, movie reviews. Let me talk about the rise and fall of Rotten Tomatoes. It's kind of like Siskel and Ebert. They kind of parallel each other. Like, both were popular when they were young. They both got fat and old and stupid, and nobody cares what they had to say at the end. So it's really similar to that. You can imagine Rotten Tomatoes just being a really fat old guy who nobody really cares about what they have to say, but somehow they still command like the mainstream news, critique of movies coming out. Perfect example of this: the Dave Chappelle Sticks and Stones special. Right, this thing it's amazing. I liked his last special better just because I got 2 episodes and they were both very funny, and I loved how he tied in everything. But this one had a purpose, it had a mission, and I think it succeeded 1000% on its mission, which was to piss people off who are easily offended with a title of his special called Sticks and Stones. And for those of you who are too young to remember, there used to be a phrase, and it was, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me." Now, you know that words are considered violence, because apparently nobody ever heard of that phrase before. And he just like shoves that down people's throats. And then they totally took the bait and they just roasted him for it. Rotten Tomatoes, in the beginning of its, when it came out to review him, gave him like a 9% with 5 reviewers. It has a 99% user review score. And they wouldn't release it right away. And there are plenty of examples of this. I mean, Captain Marvel, Jeremy from The Quartering talks about this. Captain Marvel was artificially elevated in its score because they just didn't like that people were saying bad things about it who watched it. So they just deleted a bunch of legitimate reviews. And that's not for one thing or another. They're doing it for different movies, and I'm not going to get into the politics of it. The point is, it's not a legitimate review site anymore. And it used to be. It really used to be. I remember when it was kind of new, it was awesome to be able to go on there and say like, wow, like most people kind of thought this movie was trash. I think I'll avoid that. I'll wait for it to come out on Netflix, which, that was a whole other thing, that Netflix used to have movies that weren't Netflix originals. So then you would watch movies that had a really good critical review because, whatever, it's Saturday and we have nothing better to do. Let me hit a matinee up. And this movie got a great review on Rotten Tomatoes. And turns out, hey, they were right most of the time. This was a great movie. And you could read the comments from people and kind of get a feel for what it was like and why you would like it. But now they're manipulating all the scores. And it's difficult to even say, well, let's just go on the user reviews because they're deleting user reviews when they're negative. So it's kind of being used as an advertising branch for a lot of major production companies. It's being used as a hammer to slam down a lot of movies that they don't like, that kind of just don't fit the bill. So Rotten Tomatoes has kind of gotten rotten. I know, that wasn't even trying. That was like a terrible transition. But let's talk about music. So radio sucks, newsflash. I don't know if you've heard that on the radio lately, but it's terrible. It literally is just the same music all day. Like if you go to a pop music station, and research on this actually is showing that if you look at what it used to sound like music across the board from like the top 40, it had a much bigger range of sounds. I'm talking just sounds. So if you were to look at the sound waves for all these files, it used to be much more broad in how it sounded, and now it's becoming much, much more uniform. So you're pretty much being told like, listen, this is music now. So no matter how many names there are to the new person that sings this terrible song that they're not really even singing anymore, they're really just talking, and they're not really talking anymore because they're using just like half words and like grunting for the most part. Where do you go? I mean, where do you get good music? I mean, you can't just turn on the radio and just listen for something new. And you don't want to get pigeonholed into your Pandora station or whatever because, you know, it just knows what you like. So it's going to keep throwing the same like 18 artists at you. And I've definitely seen that happen on my Pandora station. So we're going to talk about that too. But that is a big thing for music. For TV shows, you've got Netflix bloatware. You've got Hulu bloatware plus ads. You've got YouTube Red. I mean, Cobra Kai, right? That's like the only thing. And then a bunch of other nonsense. And then you have Amazon Prime for disappointment. I love Amazon Prime because it is just, it's so full of itself. Like I watch these ads and things for like Amazon Prime and it's like, this is just so good. And there's no real like people that I would ever recognize attached to the critical reviews that say like extraordinary, great. Like it's people from Amazon. So you can't trust these places for their great shows, and there's no ratings anymore. So there's no, you know, like the one thing I'll give Fox and like NBC in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, if a show wasn't good, it didn't make it. They would just axe shows. I mean, and they even erred on the side of just axing really good shows. Firefly and then Family Guy originally. They just axed them. They were like, nope, done. But like, you know, the Tomorrow People and all these other shows, like NBC was like, nope, like that's, you know, The Happening or The Event or whatever it was. Exactly. They got rid of that. So now Netflix will keep, I mean, they'll even buy shows that used to fail and they're putting them on Netflix. And it's like, you know, there was a reason why this show didn't make it. And you putting it on Netflix is just showing that I'm getting zero value for my increased subscription cost. So where do you go for that? And then video games, where do you go? Kotaku, that's a joke, although with the exception of Remnant, was a great video review. But again, that's the exception. Boing Boing, Tech Insider. I mean, I've seen better reviews from the Wall Street Journal and Business Insider for video games. Where do you go? So what do you do? What should we be doing? I'm going to give you some suggestions here. So write these down or type these out in, you know, whatever case is easier for you to figure out. I don't know how you guys do all these things. What about IMDb? Yeah, you know, honestly, IMDb is not bad. I don't mind IMDb for reviews because they're not objective, but they're kind of blatantly obvious that it's like Hollywood reviews for things, and very few people actually review it. I would love to see like a Google review system, almost like with Google Business and things. If there was just a Google review where you didn't have to buy or rent the movie from Google in order to review it, that would probably also be useful. The issue is that these big companies, in general, no matter who they are, they're being paid at some point, or they're open to being paid by large corporations. So major game journalist magazines now online are being given free stuff and money oftentimes to review certain games, and exclusivity for early access to games from development companies who, if you start talking trash about their video games, guess who's going to lose access to that? Perfect example of this. ESO. So a great guy. Danny is awesome. Shout out to him. What's going on, man? He has a great channel, The Elder Scrolls Online, ESO, and he lost access to a couple of different video game publishers because he was talking shit about Fallout 76. Bethesda's like, well, we're not going to give you any more of that stuff. Very mature Bethesda. By the way, one of the biggest things that lost credibility for me with them is that they dropped him because he had legitimate criticisms about their shitty game. Like, they put this out. It was garbage. He said, this is trash. It shouldn't have been put out so early, and it has a lot of things that need to be fixed. What do they do? Nah, you're not gonna get early access to our stuff anymore. So he doesn't get Doom Eternal early now because what? He's honest? I mean, I wish this was allowed, but what do you not see in major game journalists? They never do that. They're never going to light themselves on fire in order to make a point. They're just not. I mean, and I get it, and that's fine, but that leaves us as the nerd in question, Nerd X. What do we do? How do we find out how to not waste our money, but how to still feel safe enough to venture out and spend our entertainment dollars? And this is a real issue that I find with those of us who work. Again, what's the target demo? Adults, usually people who have kids or who are kids, but they're still like 38. Like, that's fine. You're all my people. I love you all dearly. But look, we have a limited budget and we have limited, especially time budget. And I think that's a bigger issue because I know a lot of you guys, you're very successful, you're making it work, but you have like maybe 4 hours a week for entertainment. You know, like I have to like find a time after midnight to watch Friday the 13th movies. Like, where is life? Where's life at? Anyway, so how do we figure out how to venture into new realms of nerddom and not feel like we're wasting our time and money? We really need to be able to find trusted sources that can give us good suggestions. I mean, this is why they're supposed to be reviewers. Newsflash, reviewing people and sites and things like that. You're supposed to be there to help us make good decisions about what we're going to spend our entertainment dollars on. Just FYI. I don't know if you knew this or not, because I haven't seen you act like it in 20 years, but that's your job. So there are people who are doing a good job with this. And let's start with movie reviews. There's always Red Letter Media, and they're at least honest about the fact that even if it's terrible, it could be very entertaining. And I just highly recommend that you subscribe to Red Letter Media anyway. I'm sure you've heard of them. Plinkett has some of the best things ever. The Star Wars reviews of episode 1, 2, and 3 from Plinkett are the best and most entertaining way to watch those 3 movies, aside from the Chinese redubbed into English version of those movies. That's also excellent. But Red Letter Media is they're a great site. They're just really fun to watch, and they can give you really solid suggestions on movies. They do a ton of movie reviews. That's really what they do. The Angry Video Game Nerd, he's an awesome person to look at for vintage games that you might not have heard of, for newer games that you might want to get into, series especially. I've said it before, RGT85, it's a great channel to talk about. He's always on the cutting edge of new games. He tries to buy as many new games as he can, and then he tells you about them. I can't even tell you how many people, it's so great to point them to him because I don't have to buy it, they don't have to buy it, and then they can see if they want it. There's also Twitch, and Mixer, and don't underestimate that. I've kind of gone through some games and seen people play some games like the Outer Middle show with Vlad. He's really funny. But I like watching his video streams for games to either tell myself, I don't need to buy this game now because I'm just going to watch him go through the playthrough, and it's more about the storyline and cinematics, and I don't feel like going through the gameplay because it looks grindy. Or, hey, this looks really good. I'm going to stop watching him, and I'm going to go buy the game. ESO is great. He's doing a lot of, Danny's doing things with new games too. Hunt Showdown, I've been watching him play that in alpha for 2 years. And now I know when I'm able to get that on Xbox One, I'm totally going to get it because he has propagandized me to love that game. And it was really easy. It's a no-brainer. That game is going to be excellent. So look on Twitch, look for more popular games on there. Just if you want to search a game on Twitch, you can search by game. The same thing on Mixer. And then you can find out, what does that game actually look like? It's a great way today to just watch a game, watch gameplay. Don't go on PlayStation, don't go on Xbox and watch the trailer. The trailer's nothing like the game almost always, and even if they have gameplay, it's these very specific cuts that make it look either way more interesting than it is, or that honestly makes the gameplay look very different than it is. I've seen tons of games where it's oh, this looks really responsive, and it turns out it's Gears of War, which, I mean, if you've played Gears, the responsiveness is trash. I'm sorry. For my Gears fans out there, it plays like trash. It's just a really shitty way to play a first-person or over-the-shoulder third-person shooter. It feels like Resident Evil 4. Not that there's anything wrong with that game. I love that game. But, man, you sacrifice a lot of control to be able to play a great storyline. Why, after all these years in current year, am I still having clunky controls to be able to play a cool storyline game? I don't get it. I mean, just get it together. Anyway, Twitch, Mixer, great things. And then for music, you can go on to Spotify and you can look up people that you might like and look at their playlists. There's celebrities who have playlists. There are restaurants and stores and shops. Starbucks has their own playlist that they put on, and you can find people's playlists that maybe you jive with those people. Maybe there's a celebrity that you really are you feel like you're kind of on the same level as. Maybe there's a YouTuber that happens to have a Spotify list that you can check out. It's one of the best things about that. It's exploration without a lot of risk. So if I have a YouTuber, if PewDiePie happens to have a Spotify channel and they're yo, I like these, he likes these 3 different lists and I like the same ridiculous stuff he does, maybe I'll like that playlist. And it's really easy to get into. I feel like music's very easy to get into in general anyway, because there are so many ways to freely listen to music and then just put in a new artist and be oh, somebody told me about this person. I'll put it into Pandora. I'll listen to the station and see if I like them. That happened with me. I put in Silver Sun pickups into Pandora, and it opened up Pandora's box. I was gonna not do that. I was always gonna do that. That's not true. So it opened up a ton of different awesome bands for me, and that alternative music scene would have been completely lost on me if I hadn't had it suggested to me and then put it into Pandora. So you don't have to stick yourself into these ruts. You can really just find a lot of music. And for video games, really one of the best places that you could go to is GameStop. Like GameStop. Like you could go talk to somebody who's been working there, typically for a long time. Find one of the people who works at one of the ones near you, because there's like apparently like 5 for every town. That's not going to be true soon, but whatever. Talk to those people that kind of jive with you on the same older games that you like, and then just ask them about what games have come out recently. And you can even get out like used games for a lot cheaper. They're new to you. If you're like me, it doesn't matter. If it came out like 2 years ago, you probably haven't gotten to it yet. And then you'll know games that you'll probably enjoy. You can also, there's a return policy at GameStop where if you go home, you play it, you hate it, you can go back and return it. So it's a great way, if you have time, to just go back and return it if it turns out it's not for you. So those are some ways that you can check out different reviewers and different people you trust. Oh, one of the things that I've found too, pick YouTubers that you love. Like moi. You go onto my YouTube channel, and let's say that you guys talk together on the chat. There are people who are interested in the same type of YouTube streaming that you're into. So whoever that is, doesn't matter. Talk in the chat about like, hey, what are good games that are out there? Or what do you guys think about this game? Either the streamer themselves will answer that, especially if you throw a super chat in there, like nothing wrong with that. Support your YouTubers. And but also the people who are in the chat will say like, oh, that's trash or that's good. It's like this, it's like that. And I found that that's a great way to get some new information about games that you otherwise might not be able to. So hopefully those are ways that you can now feel more comfortable in this kind of like oddly dark age of reviews and trusting sources for books and comic books and video games and movies and TV. Try it out. Let me know what you think. You can always email me, ERIC, at defeatedbydeliciousfruitpies.com. I'd be more than happy to give you my opinion on a game or a movie if I've gotten to play it or something like that. And if I haven't, I'll ask around and I'll try to give you an answer. 50-50, and I'm not lying to you. So that brings me to topic 3. Topic 3 is pizza. Pie till I die. I just wanted to talk about pizza because I love pizza. I love different types of pizza. I love lots of toppings of pizza. I have like different tastes for different crusts. I think there's just so many things about pizza that you could change and make awesome. It's great. And so let me talk first about how I got into pizza. My pizza story. Ninja Turtles. Obviously, duh. So when I was a kid, they were always eating pizza, and Michelangelo was my Ninja Turtle. Like, everybody has their own Ninja Turtle. I think there should actually be a personality assessment based on what Ninja Turtle that you identify with. It's probably more accurate than most of them out there. Michelangelo was my Ninja Turtle, even though it was hard to play as him in a lot of the arcade games because he has like that short or medium range. Not as bad as Raph, but like, Raph's Raph. Pizza was just something that it just was very like awesome sounding that they always got pizza. And I just was living in a very rural community. There wasn't really a community. Anyway, I was in the woods in like a mountain area. And so like there weren't like pizza places around every corner. Getting pizza was a big deal. And when a new pizza place opened up that was closer to us, that was like a huge deal. So then every birthday party, pretty much for my friends and I, was like a pizza party. It didn't matter whose it was. Oh, somebody's having a birthday party. Sweet, pizza party. So it was always pizza time. And just like the meme, pizza time. So I saw there was a PewDiePie meme review where it shows Joker and Spider-Man dancing together on the stairs. And then there was them when it's a pizza party. And it was just like everybody. It was awesome. Check that out. But yeah, I kind of overdid it with pizza in about college when like every event and every activity had pizza. Like there's just free pizza all the time. And it wasn't like good pizza. That was kind of part of the problem. It's not like they were ordering good pizza. It was just like one of those things like, more people come if you say punch and pie. But it's like pizza pie, and it just was not good. So I kind of got like, I'm kind of off on the pizza thing. I think it lasted a whole year or two. And then I got back to getting good pizza, especially in Scranton, Pennsylvania, because I was near Old Forge, which, if you haven't had Old Forge pizza, you're missing out. It's really interesting. It's square. It's on trays. It's not circle pie pizzas. It has a very specific type of sauce. and it is very famous for its pizza. And so I got to try all kinds of different pizza styles and sizes and crusts, and oh man, I just really want pizza now. Basically, what's going on? I may go get pizza. But yeah, so then I got all these really good pizzas, and that leads me kind of to now, like, what's the deal with pizza? I can eat it immediately and in large quantities, as you can see in the thumbnail. I did today. I just went to a pizza place, and it was fantastic. Let me tell you. So this pizza place had very high cheese levels. It was the right amount of sauce. They didn't undersauce, and the crust was fluffy but crispy. So it had a little bit of meat to it. Like, it was actually doughy, but not like heavy dough, like a light fluffy dough. And then it was crispy, so it had a crunch to it every single bite. It was so good, I actually ate the crust at the end of the pizza, which was not too much crust. It was just like a line of crust that the cheese made it right up to. Oh, that is a perfect piece of pizza. I do like New York thin sliced pizza. I like that thin crust. It's okay, but ultimately I have to eat like 20 pieces of New York style pizza to equal one piece of regular pizza. And then it's the opposite for Chicago deep dish pizza. It's like, I got to eat like 2 of those to equal a whole pizza of normal pizza. But pizza is just an amazing thing. It is something that brings everybody together. There's a reason why everybody wants to give free pizza when you go to an event or something. So, what's a little too Raph? Yeah, I do love that line. It's Raph. A little too Raph. And you like cheese? I like cheese pizza too, but let me talk about some toppings. When I was really little in Philadelphia, you could get garbage pizza. I didn't know that wasn't a thing in other places, and I don't want to make any like assumptions about what that means about Philadelphia, but Philly had garbage pizza, which really, it was like kitchen sink pizza. It was everything on it. So it was anchovies, peppers, mushrooms, onions. It had pepperoni, it had sausage, and it was just everything, all the toppings, and it was awesome. I mean, I loved garbage pizza. So then I moved to other places and I asked for garbage pizza, and apparently people look at you like that's disgusting when you ask for garbage pizza. So now you got to ask for everything or special pizza. But don't discount the anchovy. If you think anchovies are gross, right? Like, so you wouldn't eat like sardines or anchovies on their own. Try it on pizza once. Like, get like an anchovy and mushroom piece of pizza and just try it. It's funky, but it's salty, but it's really good. Or like an anchovies and black olives and mushrooms. It's very, very salty. Just try it out. It's all these weird things on a pizza. You can gross out your friends, impress your relatives, and you can eat anchovies. Also, Ninja Turtles ate anchovy pizza, which again was why I even tried it in the first place. Because I figured if Mutant Ninja Turtles liked this, it must obviously be good for human consumption. Little did I know, the point was it was good for green mutant ninjas. So, whatever. But I have a weird taste, so try it out. In my opinion, it is delicious. Remember blueberry pizza. I blocked that out of my memory because much like other traumas in my life, I tried to, just not keep that in the noggin. But yeah, you can have all kinds of different pizzas. There's dessert pizza. Pizza Hut was good about doing that. You can do all kinds of stuff with pizza. And the best thing about pizza, it's a pie. And we all know it's really important to be defeated by a delicious fruit pie. And since we all know that tomatoes are fruit, you can get defeated by a pizza pie. And that is what I will leave you all with today, is get yourself defeated by a delicious fruit pizza pie. And leave me some comments in here if you're watching this and it's not live. Love to see what you think about pizza, what your favorite topping is, what your favorite type of pizza is. Are you a Chicago person? Are you a New York person? Are you an Old Forge person? Do you not really know what I'm talking about? You haven't listened to the rest of the show? Shut up. Don't talk to me. Email me, Eric, at defeatedbydeliciousfruitpies.com if you want to say some more nice things about the show, pizza, any of the other channels that I happen to reference on here. I do like to give shout outs and give recommendations for other YouTube channels because it is important that we support each other, especially, like I said, in this climate. Be on the lookout for other options for us to be streaming and other suggestions. Sure, also, that's helpful. And since we are up to 2,100 subscribers, I would like to let people know when we get up to 5,000, I will be releasing merchandise. So tell a friend, tell 4 friends, force them to watch it. Gunpoint's not necessary, but appreciated. Not for real, but for play. Maybe a Nerf gun or, a Super Soaker. And other than that, I will see you guys on the flip side next week. Thanks for being on here, and I'll catch you guys later.
Defeated.